Hey, Amani.
Hi. Let me go ahead and make you the host.
Okay, sounds good.
Cool. So you should be able to share your screen now.
Okay, perfect. Let's see, can folks hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, I can hear a couple people. Just make sure that people can hear me. Make sure that my internet doesn't go in and out. So let's see. So let's see. So Monty, can you guys still hear me?
Yes, I can definitely hear you.
Okay, great. All right, because I'm hearing, yeah, this is weird when you can't see anybody. Everybody's got their names up.
Yeah, share your videos.
Okay.
You guys can.
Right. Yeah, let me just make sure that I can share my screen here. Get that up and then we'll get started. Let's see. No, that's not what I want. Oh, where'd it go? All right, oh, there it is. Okay, it's hidden. Okay, so there we go. Are you guys seeing my screen or just me?
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Okay, good deal. All right, then we'll get started here. So welcome everybody. Thanks for coming to this class on open house hosting. And I'm Gareth Griffith, and I'll give you a really brief kind of account of myself. I've been in the business come July, it'll be 2 years, so year and a half now, however you want to count. And I've done a lot of open houses. It's how I get a good bit of my business, that and referrals from my sphere, my database. So the open house is a great way to go. And so I'm really looking forward to kind of sharing what I know and get to know a little bit about you guys and what it is that you want to learn. So first of all, real quickly, how many of you out there hosted an open house? And you can unmute yourself if you want to.
I have.
As well, I actually followed one of yours. I did one right after you and the Smyrna one for Libby.
Uh-huh.
I did that one.
Yep.
Not too long ago.
Okay. Okay, yeah, appreciate you taking that one on. That one actually just came back on the market. The financing fell through. I found out this morning. So we'll have to host some more open houses to get that one sold. So I want to make this kind of session as interactive as possible. So I'll try to pay attention to the chat box, but if you have questions, feel free to unmute yourself and interrupt. I know it's kind of odd, the Zoom thing, to kind of go back and forth, but I'm happy to kind of share what I know, and I'd love to get questions at any time. Don't hesitate to interrupt and to share what you all know. And I'll have questions for you, so I'm going to ask you to kind of share what you know. Okay, so to get us started, let me turn this into the whole presentation mode so that you can kind of see the big screen, and we'll kind of get through it. Okay, so here's a question for you all. Why would we want to hold an open house? Anybody can unmute and give me an answer.
Find buyers.
Yep, that's a good thing to find buyers. What other reasons might we want to hold an open house?
I think in this,
Quickly.
And buyers for whom? Excuse me, what was that?
To sell the house quicker.
Yep, to sell the house to quicker. Yep, absolutely. Exposure on the market
Get-
always helps.
To
What's
probably get-
another reason?
To get the leads from the neighbors who might want to
Yep.
sell as well.
Ah, perfect. Yep, that's exactly right. So what we're looking for is, we're looking to help sell the house, make it, with exposure. We may end up with, buyers and sellers that we can use, we get as leads. And then we may have people that, we meet and we stay in touch with, and in due time, they become buyers and sellers for us. So for example, I'm got a listing appointment tomorrow from a open house lead that I met over a year ago. Just stayed in touch, and now he's ready to sell, and I'm going to talk to him tomorrow about selling. So it's a way to generate kind of leads down the road, that's for sure. All right, so if you've gone through Ignite and you've seen all the materials, you've probably seen the 7th level model for hosting an open house. Is this true? Raise your hands, give a thumbs up. So you know what we're talking about with a 7th level open house?
no,
Nope. I see a head checking no. Okay, well, I'll go over it real quickly, but all this is information that you can get from all the Keller Williams information out there. And I don't want to go into it in too much detail because you can read it for yourself in other places. But basically, the idea is that you want to continue to add layers to hosting an open house. At its basic level, you could post it in the FMLS, show up, put a sign out, put balloons up, and just hope that people show up. That's one way to do it. But the 7th level is just taking it, a little bit deeper. So do some marketing around it. That's a way to add layers. So get out on social media, advertise that way, buy some Facebook ads, get out in the neighborhood, do your door knocking with flyers, talk to neighbors, leave information, inviting neighbors. And the 7th level would be that you get to a place where that there are other houses in the area or the neighborhood. They may not be yours or your, somebody that but you reach out to those listing agents and see if you can't create a bigger event, a community, a Sunday when everybody in the neighborhood's got an open house to draw more people to the neighborhood. So it's just adding layers to the marketing of the open house to attract and bring in more visitors, more viewers. More viewers means more leads. Okay, so what I wanted to do today was just kind of go over kind of the preparation phase of hosting an open house, the hosting day itself, and then importantly, kind of the follow-up phase. So make sense? Thumbs up? Okay, so talking about, thanks, Valentina. I like that. Thank you. Appreciate the feedback. All right, so how do you find an open house to host? Any ideas? Unmute yourself and throw some ideas out there.
On FMLS, can you put in an office and just look for Keller Williams open houses?
Yep, you can do that. That is one great way.
Facebook?
What are some other ways? Yep, you could do that. What else? How else could you find open houses to host?
Listing agents, probably. Ask them if you can host them for them.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. And so, it's really important to kind of think about who do you know, and to build relationships. So if you know some agents who list houses a good bit, then get to know them and ask them and build some trust with them, and then they will hopefully allow you to host an open house if you don't have a listing yourself. Certainly, you want to get ready to open an open house and know what you like. So visit open houses. Just bounce around on a Sunday afternoon, Saturday afternoon, visit some. You'll see agents, you'll see open houses, you'll see things done that you like and some things that you don't like. And so that helps you to kind of figure out how you want to host an open house when you do it. The other thing is, be available, be consistent. So, if you're wanting to host an open house once every 6 weeks, you're not super consistent. And so if you can be willing to host an open house, every weekend or a couple of times a week, then agents will really start to kind of trust you and ask you. You can get into a rhythm. You can have it as a part of your weekly schedule. And that is a great way to kind of build that consistency.
I have a
And then just
suggestion
ask,
too.
Ask other agents. Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Hey, this is Patty Jackson.
ahead.
I also think that it's a good idea
Hey, Patty.
to shadow an agent who's very experienced at their open house. Not necessarily for leads, just to really learn how to do it if you've never done one, because I think that will give you more confidence when you do host one on your own. And it is a great way to get business. We've gotten we have a lot of business that's come from open houses.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that was the next thing. So thanks for jumping into it, because if you can spend an afternoon with somebody who knows what they're doing, you can talk strategy all day long. You can see how they interact with the people who come in, and you can practice and get immediate feedback from somebody who's done it a lot. So that's a really important way to learn, and it's a way to also to build that rapport and relationship with a listing agent. They see you in action, and they're going to trust you to host their open houses. All right, so you mentioned looking in FMLS to find out, who has open houses available. And so, just like captured a couple of screenshots here from FMLS, and you can do the search, and you can put in our office code down at the bottom, and you can find folks who are in our office who have listings. And then you can reach out to them, whether they are planning to have an open house or not. If you have a relationship with them, you can reach out and ask if any of their listings, need an open house host. And some, it's quite possible that people will be like, well, I haven't thought about it because I can't do it, but if you're willing to do it, then yeah, let's do an open house. So this is a way to find out who in our office is having, listings that you could potentially host. And that's an easy, clean hosting opportunity, because it's within our office and less paperwork. In case if you go outside of our office, then you have to fill out the permission to show form and all that. So this is an easy thing. Make sense?
Yeah, when you first started doing open houses, which method did you use the most to get your first couple open houses as a new agent?
Well, for me, it was, I did what Patty did. I shadowed somebody, I visited open houses, and it was pre-COVID times. So I hung around the office a lot. I mean, I was there every day and met other agents, the agents who were doing a lot of business, and got to know them. And, I'm fortunate that I work with a lot of them now. And so the other way, is to, be present to these things, and then just reach out. And if you see open, and you can do a search in FMLS for open houses, and then you can cross-reference it for open houses that are being hosted by our office, and just reach out and ask if you can stop by, if you could shadow their open house. And this is a way to meet agents. Does that help?
No, that helps. The shadowing idea is a
answer?
great. Yeah, that's great. Shadowing is a great idea. I think I have used FMLS to search for open houses and reached out to the agents that are doing them. A lot of times they already have someone that's hosting it. Usually it's not them. So it's just trying to find that that happy place where they have before they posted it on FMLS, there isn't already a agent that's hosting those locations. I think that's the thing.
Yeah,
Also, you know,
right.
is
And
to
yeah, and
like
even
he
if there's
like
an agent hosting, I mean, you can come. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Patty. Sorry.
oh no, I was gonna say if it sounds like you're kind of coming late to the game, and to your comments earlier about building the relationship is maybe reach out to some agents that have a lot of listings in the office, and ask to meet with them. Say, can we meet for coffee, and you know, whatever, or can I stop by and just, you know, kind of talk to you about your process, and develop the relationship so that they actually call you when, you know, when they're, I mean, you know, for me, the proactive agents are the ones I usually pick. The ones who are consistently, you know, trying to, you know, ask me about how you do them, and what my process is, because every agent has a different process for doing open houses. And one of the most important things to me is that agents follow up with the people they meet, because I've had agents in the past that you know, I'll call them a week later and they'll go, oh, I was so busy, I haven't called anyone, and you know, that could be potential people that would have bought the house. So they're hurting themselves, but they're also not doing the agent they're helping with the open house any favors.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so that's a great way to start building some relationships with folks who, you know, in these times when not everybody's around the office all the time anymore. And then, you know, what do you need to learn to be ready to host? So first of all is practice your scripts, practice your conversation. And I'll show you a couple scripts that I use in a second, because you want to be able to have a smooth conversation with the people who come in your door. And then know it, do your homework, know the area, know the neighborhood, drive around it, look on FMLS, look at the active listings, look at the recent solds, ask other agents about the area, because people coming into the house are going to ask those questions. And you want to be able to have a conversation where you sound like an expert. And that will immediately build trust. And if it's a potential lead for you, they will already see you as an expert. And this is the thing that really matters. Know the house, know what's been updated, know what the special features are. Have the seller's disclosures available, and even, you know, in print or certainly electronically, so you can email them back out to people who ask. Know the story of the house, know the story of the seller if it's available to you. All of these are ways to engage people in conversation, and these are, you'll have answers because these are the things that people are going to ask about. I've got a whole list of questions too that people are going to ask you in an open house, but these are the, you know, so do your homework before you get in there. You know how many houses are on the market, how many are selling in this price range each month, so that you can talk knowledgeably about the market. And then marketing the open house. A lot of ways you can kind of go about this. I mentioned a few earlier, but you can certainly get on your social media pages if you've got one. You can place online ads, you can send emails out. If you've got a database, send it to your database. Even if you know that people in your own database are not going to buy this house, they will see you as active in the real estate industry, and they will start to, you know, it's a touch. It's a way to get people to see that, hey, you're working, you're in this real estate business for real, and that's a really good thing. You can send out an office message through kind of our intranet. So definitely that alerts other agents in the office. It also helps build that consistency and that relationship to agents that, hey, you know, here's, you know, Angela hosting another open house this weekend. She must love to host open houses. I'll think of her next time. I would recommend getting out, putting some flyers together, go door knocking on the street, in the neighborhood. You can also get the phone numbers if you don't want to go knock doors, and make calls, invite the neighbors to stop by the open house. Definitely put out signs, more signs the better. Find intersections, find major roads, and lead people to the house. Get the signs out for Sunday open house at least by Friday. Friday morning, Friday afternoon, but that gives a few days visibility. Or even Thursday night, it doesn't hurt. And then have your, your flyers, your handouts, everything ready to go for the day of the open house. Any other ideas for marketing an open house? Or does that sound like will do the job? Okay, I didn't mention, posting it in FMLS. Usually the listing agent will do that for you because they're the ones who have access to the listing, but definitely make sure that is done and done early in the week because that's a really important thing because then it gets spread out to all the online sites that list open houses, and that's how a lot of house hunters will look. They'll look online and find those on Zillow, Trulia, all these different places. They'll find open houses that are available. Brings up another kind of question. When do you want to try to secure an open house? When during the week should you try to secure an open house to
Like
host?
a week before, probably.
Yes. Yeah. So, I usually am looking on, at the latest Monday to connect to listing agents to try to line something up for that weekend. And as fast as the market is moving, that's probably good right now. When it was just a little bit slower, I sometimes was booked 2-3 weeks out.
I have a question.
Definitely try to get early in the week. Yes, go ahead.
You mentioned flyers. Do you do that in Command?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In Designs? Yep.
I do. Examples here in a second in Designs. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you
I'll
just
show you
print
what I
them
put
at
together,
home, or do you email them?
in just a second. I do two things. I go into the office and print them, and have a few copies at the house, and then I have them as a digital, a PDF or a picture, and so that I can email or text it to people who come in the house as well.
Gotcha. Another question: when you do open house, do you bring a CMA with you, and do you show it to potential buyers?
Yes, and I'll show you that in just a second. So here's some examples of social media posts that you can put together for some of your marketing, and all of these were done in Design. So there are a lot of templates. You can use them. It's great. This one in the middle is a listing that I got from an open house visitor. So it's not all buyers that you're going to get from an open house. So you're going to get some listings too. All right. Put the signs out, get them out early. And then the day of, you've got the, pick your whatever you like that will draw attention to the sign the day of. So balloons are easy. They got the helium tank in the office. You can go fill them up. Buy your balloons at Party City or Dollar Store, wherever, and go fill them up for free at the office and then put them out. Some agents like the spinny whirly things that catch your eye because you don't have to go fill up the spinners every week. But whatever that you've got that will catch people's eye on the day of is really important, because you will get people who are just out on a Sunday afternoon and they've got a few minutes to kill. They see your sign that catches the eye and they will come in your house. I'm working with one buyer right now, and that's exactly what happened. A few weeks ago, she just saw the sign, dropped in. She was actually out on exercise. She was out walking, saw the sign, dropped in, and and now we're looking for a $500,000 house, which is like awesome.
Hey, I have a question.
And then the day of the open house, questions to kind of think about. Yep, go ahead.
On your previous, you were providing an example of a person that walked in on an open house and they ended up wanting to buy a $500,000 home from you. Now, maybe your question, you'll get to this, but the open house that I've done, it seems like two things are happening. Either they have an agent, is usually my circumstance that I've run into, or
Yep.
um,
Do you have an agent, or I kind of lost you on the last part of the question? So I didn't catch it. I don't know if that's on my end or yours, but you kind of froze up there. So yeah, I'll get to that. But definitely, you have buyers who come in who have agents. So I'll talk about that in just a second. And then just kind of the other questions to kind of think about as you kind of go through the day of. So you want to catch the eye of the drive-by. You want to make sure that the home is ready to show. So hopefully your listing agent has worked with a home seller, and the house is, it's clean, it's picked up, it's, everything is where it should be. It looks really good for showing. But I always like to get there a little bit early just to make sure that things are in place, that lights are turned on, that things are picked up, throw something in a closet if it needs to be, and that the home is ready to show. And that, closet doors are opened, doors are open so that people who come in don't have to, go rummaging around. They can just look. And the COVID times here, of course, make sure that you've got an extra supply, you've got masks, you've got hand sanitizer. Really think about the traffic flow in the home. Most of the time you're not necessarily going to have 10 parties in the house at once, but in case that house could get crowded, think about how you want to direct people through the home, so that parties aren't on top of each other. So a party's in the home and and they're upstairs, then you invite the next group that comes in to tour the downstairs first, and so they don't have to be and share the same space. It's also possible to do some, Facebook Live type stuff or Zoom type stuff to host a virtual open house. But right now, honestly, most people are willing to come out and look at homes in person. And then really think about how you can add value to the people who are coming in. What do you know about the home, the neighborhood, everything else that's available? Think about what it is that you can offer the people who come in the home. What of value can you offer? Because that's how you're going to capture leads. So really think about that. And what you have to offer is what you know. And your smiling, lovely personality. So that's the things that will attract potential buyers and sellers to you. And then you want to make sure that you make a connection to them as they come in the house, and that you've got a system for follow-up. So, definitely think about how to provide that COVID safe experience for people. Model it, with wearing the face masks. Ask people to, as they come in the door. People will. That hasn't been an issue for me. And then here's some scripts, and I'll make sure Imani sends this out to you so that you can see these scripts for yourself and practice them. But always introduce yourself when people come in the door. It's a no-brainer, but use all those tricks that to get their name and remember it, so that you can use their name when they come in the door. And so that's an important connection, to be able to use their name as people come in the door. So that's important. And then a great question to ask people is, hey, Patty, are you shopping for a home today, or do you live in the neighborhood? And so how they answer that question will tell you immediately whether they're a buyer or a potential seller. People in the neighborhood, as you mentioned earlier, they might sell down the road. They're just curious. What updates have happened in the house? Maybe we want to sell later on. They could just be curious. And then try to build a picture in your head of what it is that the buyer is looking for. Just real quickly, are they looking for 4 bedrooms, a basement, a flat yard? And then that should trigger things in your head of available homes. If this home doesn't have it, then maybe some other homes that do. That's where you add value. The Other thing is, ask people to, look around. If you hear something like they're looking for a basement, oh, well, this house has a basement, go check it out. And then when you come back, I would love to hear your impressions about the house and answer any questions you have. Most buyers don't want somebody just hovering over their shoulder as they are walking around the house. That doesn't mean you don't pay attention to them. If they have questions as they're going around, you want to be able to answer. If the house is occupied, you have a responsibility to kind of make sure that nobody's walking off with the family china. But most people don't want you to hover. Does that make sense? But you have given the clear message that you're going to check back in with them at the end before they leave. And so that's an important kind of piece to make sure that, that you've greeted them, you've talked a little bit, you got an idea what they're looking for, and you're going to check back in with them before they leave. And that's where the magic happens in the connections. Let's see. Okay. If they are a seller and they live in the neighborhood, that's your cue. Then ask them about what they like about the neighborhood. Point out some of the things that have been done in this particular home that makes it inviting as a selling option. And then you also want to get their feedback and try to get their contact information to follow up. So do those scripts make sense? They're really simple. It's not hard, but it's really helpful to practice these. And in the conversation, it's at the end when you follow up where you think about what it is that you could offer them of value. So if it's a seller, would it be of value to you if I sent you a list of homes similar to the ones that you're looking for? Or would you be offended if I, sent you the name of a contractor since you think, since you just mentioned that you might want to remodel your kitchen like this one? And so being able to offer something of value and framing it like that, most people are not going to say no to something that is of value to them. You're not forcing them to commit to anything. You're just offering something. But it's a great way to get somebody's email address or even phone number. And then, the questions on the right, are really good for, capturing that sort of thing. So you want to be able to have these scripts as a part of your just sort of natural conversation. So it doesn't feel forced. You don't come across as a used car salesman. You're just there trying to help people out. Make sense? Okay. Questions you're there are others. I mean, this list is, but these are some of the common that I hear a lot. And so, how long has the house been on the market? All things like that. So, I don't need to read these questions to you. You can read them yourself. But do those sound like questions that buyers would ask? Yep. Okay. So if buyers are going to ask these questions, have the answers. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Cameron.
Sorry, I was going to ask a quick question. And this is going a little backwards, but do you find it better to host on a Saturday or a Sunday? And is the listing agent typically the one that's picking the date?
Yes and no. So I would say that hosting anytime is great as long as you can get the word out. Sunday is definitely a traditional time that people think of open houses. Saturday is more and more common. People are out on Saturdays as well. It's just making sure that you got the word out and that it's clear on your signs, it's clear in the advertising that's out there. Often a house that is really new on the market might do a Saturday, Sunday open house just to catch as many people as possible when the house is new and exciting. If the house is vacant, it doesn't really matter how often or when you have an open house. Sometimes it's up to the seller. I mean, they might not want to give up their house for the whole day. Hopefully they, all weekend, but, hopefully they will so that they can get the house sold. But,
There's also
that
the
you have
signage.
to work with the listing agent and the seller. Mhm.
And
Also
somebody
the-
just mentioned the signage, because I have done several open houses for an agent, and her signs are made for Sunday to between 2 and 4, and so that's when she hosts
Mhm.
her open house. And I just, as I thought about like, oh, when I get a listing, like, what is y'all's take on that? Like, do you have signs made up for specific times, or?
Again, I can comment to that.
Yes, please.
Go ahead, Patty.
We do, we have a system where when we have a brand new listing, our goal is to get it on Thursday. Sometimes it ends up happening Friday. We do the first weekend, we always do 2 to 4 both days. And depending on where the listing is, we might give up one of the days to somebody who is showing, somebody who wants to host it for us, and certainly anyone that would want to shadow us. And then after that, definitely on following weekends, it can be either Sunday 2 to 4, Saturday or Sunday 2 to 4 is what we have signage for. But I recommend for new agents, one of the first things you invest in is your own signs. Of course, an agent would have to approve it. I am happy to let people use their own signs. And because you're not only just meeting people at the open house, it's a way to brand yourself. So don't just get signs without stickers. You need to have your name made up for the stickers. And have your very own signs that, and that way you can also, if you want to do some different time frames, you might do, so you can have a sign made up with your name and then also get some writers to go on top of them. And you can get a variety of them, maybe get 4 to 6, 2 to 4 Saturday, 4 to, whatever, or 3 to 5, whatever is your preferred time. And then of course, again, it is, like you said, the seller's availability and everything and comfort level and the agent. So, but if you have those already made and ready to go, when you volunteer to do an open house, you can brand yourself.
Right.
It's going to be
that's
the agents.
awesome.
Yeah. And they're not that expensive. It is an investment. If you start with, Sundays 2 to 4s and just get maybe 4 to 6 of those made. So I think they're about, directionals from the office are about $8 or $9. We go to Farmers, so I'm not sure how much the office ones are. And then you would want to get the stickers made, which you can do through Farmers or probably other sources. Yeah. And then so you get the stickers made, and then you also need the writers on top, which you can usually just buy directly from like the FMLS store that say like Saturday 2 to 4 or Sunday 2 to 4. Some of them you can write in, but I honestly don't think those look very professional myself, but it's up to you. As long as you write it nice and big and clear and very block lettery. Have you ever been by a sign where there's like this scribbly little writing and you're like, you can't even, unless you were to stop in the middle of the road, you can't read it. So you want it to be very clear from far away as they're driving through, by that neighborhood where they see your name really clear and they see the 2 to 4 or whatever really clear.
No, that is super helpful. Thank you, because I have I've been putting out the agent sign, and I was thinking, oh, this is like, I'd love it to be my name. And and so I'm assuming that there's no, that's fine. There's no conflict in the listing being under a certain agent's name and then the open house signs being under your
there's
name.
not a conflict unless the agent has a problem with it. So that's,
Okay.
you definitely, the agent is going to, and maybe even the seller, the agent, anything that's done differently has to be approved by the seller first, then the agent. And, because, there might be some agents that are real finicky about the fact that, you're putting your name in front of their house or whatever. They still have their sign there. It's going to be very clear who the listing belongs to, but out on the road, if your name's on that sign, I have no problem with it. I think it's great. If somebody's doing me the favor of opening my house, then and giving up their time, I hope and there's agents that will even, I don't know of any in our office that do this, but that will even charge you a referral fee and for any buyers you do pick up or sellers. I would never do that, but you know what, that's something you need to make clear with an agent before you have the open house is, whether they're going to expect you to, to do some kind of referral fee to them.
And can I ask one more question and then I'll shut up, I promise. But
who gets
in
the
terms
leads? Yes.
of the listing agent like when buyers or when people come into the open house, do you like, how do you go about that conversation? Like if they ask you if you're the listing agent or that, like,
I've never had anybody
you have
ask me
to
that.
disclose-
I've
Oh,
never had
okay.
anybody ask me that. Now, there might be a question
I-
that comes up that you don't know, and you can say, you know what, I am partnering with this agent. I'm hosting the open house for so-and-so. So I would be happy to call her and find that information out for you. You know, that's probably the only time it
Okay,
would come up. Most people
perfect.
don't ask. They don't care. They only care about the house.
Okay, no, that's good. That's perfect.
Yep, exactly. And you're the one in front of them, so they're going to talk to you. They're going to associate
Okay.
you with the house, anyways. Their agent won't, but they will. And so, yeah, and
Yeah.
Patty's right. Having your name on a sign, a number, if the agent is with it, perfect. I mean, I've gotten leads just from the sign. People never come to open house; they just call the number. It's great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And
Okay.
then, yeah, so that's really important. Yeah, but definitely make clear, you know, who gets the leads, referral fees. I mean, I haven't had an issue. Everybody in the office is so generous. So you asked a little bit earlier about flyers that you can make from design, and here are a couple examples. So, you know, open house on the left. You know, so this is something that I would print out, you know, and have a couple copies at the open house so that people have something to take away. This particular agent was absolutely fine, wanted me to highlight myself on the flyer and just make sure that she was listed down here. Other agents, I mean, personally, unless they tell me to do that, I give them equal billing, you know, an equal size picture, equal size font, phone number, contact info, all that stuff. And just will say, you know, hosted by, that's me, listed by whoever is the listing agent. And then this is another flyer that I made up. I had earlier, the question was asked about, do you include a CMA? And so I like to have like this open house on one side of a piece of paper, and then this sort of market analysis on the other side. And this is where you're offering value to people who come in. And so this is a little bit tricky. I don't want to, you know, let people know how many homes are active, how many, you know, what's the neighborhood, what's the market looking like. It gives you a talking point, especially if the house that you're showing is going to come off attractive. Include it for sure, because you're helping the agent out. You don't want to make it seem as if their house is, you know, $50,000 over. And if there's anomalies, know why. Be able to explain. Well, the house that, you know, this house is listed at 340, that other one at 280, but it has no updates at all. This one's completely renovated. So, you know, be able to talk through the CMA and with the idea of, you know, being honest, but also helping people see the value of the house that you are selling. And then in terms of, you know, another value add is, you know, I'll pull all the other open houses that are open that day or that weekend, depending on when during the weekend I'm hosting the open house, and invite people to, you know, as they're leaving to say, all right, if you're out looking at houses, here's some others that are within 2 miles of this house today. So, you know, feel free to drop by any of these. You know, so you're adding something to their experience. And I can't tell you how many people appreciate that. And so it just is one more possible touch point for you, and one more way to add value. And then you want to have a system, you want to have a way of collecting people's contact info. And so I've got kind of 3 ways that I try and use and mix and mingle these days. The tried and true piece of paper. Right? Have a clipboard, have a pen right next to a hand sanitizer bottle. And as in that kind of final conversation with people, you ask, you know, certainly if they are willing to have you send them information, or, you know, the conversation's going there, you get them to get all their, you know, all the contact info, and they give it willingly. Other people, I always ask, you know, even if that's not who, you know, that clearly they're not going to want to work with me, or they have another agent, I get them to fill this out anyway, and just say, hey, look, you know, for our records, would you mind, you know, signing in, registering that you are here, just so that we can let the seller know that people stop by. So you'll get, the few people who will only put a name down. Most people, might put an email, might put a phone number. If they have a real estate agent, because that was mentioned before, I ask that up front for two reasons. One, I want to know. And then two, I'm not trying to be that pushy real estate agent who's trying to get their business. I'm trying to give them an opportunity to tell me who they're working with. And people will give that up. And that's important information for you to collect if you have. And then the ones who say, I don't have an agent, or the ones who say that, yeah, send me more stuff, then that's great. And if they fill out any of the stuff at the bottom, that's good too. But maybe you've collected some of that in your conversation with them. And I usually go back in and fill in what I know. I'll write notes on the back from the conversation so that I remember these people down the road. Even if it's people who, don't, already have an agent, I want to know about them. You can create a website in Command that is a landing page, that is a way to collect people's information. And if they fill this out, it will dump them right into your database with all their contact info. Of course, the way this one is set up, there's not a box to kind of get all that information. This is a template, you can't change it. All the information that's on that piece of paper, but it's a way to collect things electronically. If you have your laptop set up, people can do it right there. Patty's son Kevin is your guru in terms of setting up websites. So go to his things on his drop-ins on Thursday. Look at all the videos on Quan Train and about how to work the websites. But it's a good way to collect stuff. Another thing that in COVID times I've done is I've created a QR code that somebody can scan with their phone, and it will take you to this. So they can enter all their info on their phone without having to touch any of your stuff. And so it's just one more way. Some people like it. They like the technology. They like not having to touch any of your stuff. And it's just one more way. So at most of the open houses that I do, I have a clipboard with a hard copy piece of paper, and I have this set out so that people can get to the online registration if they want to. So anything I can do to collect people's contact info. Yes,
How did
question.
you create that? Is it Command 2?
Yeah, this is everything that I'm showing you I did in Command in Designs.
Cool.
I used a third-party app to create the QR code, but then link the QR code to the website.
Gareth,
Yes.
hey Gareth, it's Janice. How are you?
Hey.
Hey,
Good, Jan.
I can't tell if I'm freezing. Just quick question. Illegible handwriting from the clipboards.
Mm-hmm.
How are you
Yep.
getting around that?
So, you can go two ways, so one way is you write it yourself and you just ask them, and you can read your own handwriting, I hope. The other way is, I'll take the clipboard back from them, and then I'll say, okay, just want to double check that I can read your handwriting. Sometimes I have trouble, so I make it on me, right, not on them. And I just read it back to them, and they say, oh, no, that's a 2, not a 7. I say, okay, great, thank you. And then I write it on top. And the same with phone numbers. I don't care about addresses so much, but emails and phone numbers, I'll just double check if I can't read it right off. I have an advantage. I was a high school English teacher for 14 years, so I can read just about any type of handwriting.
Which one are you using right now?
Okay.
Which one are you using today?
All three.
Oh, okay.
I have all three available. I prefer the paper, and I find that most of the people who come in prefer the paper too.
Okay.
But I have all three available. Yep. And then magic and alms is in the follow-up. And so your first kind of responsibility is to the listing agent. And so the more information you can give back to the listing agent, the more likely they are to want you to host their open house again. And so, and be timely with this, you know, ask them when they want their feedback returned. So, you know, some agents I work with, they want to know that evening. And so, you know, get it to them quickly. Others are okay with, you know, Monday morning if it's a Sunday afternoon open house. But they're going to want to report back to their seller. And so, you know, you need to fill them in. So keep track of how many parties, how many people come through the open house. Collect from the people who come through the open house, what did they like about the home? What did they not like? You know, so the feedback that you can provide the listing agent can be relayed back to the seller. You know, I've had one that, I've had a couple where, you know, I've been able to collect information, give that back to the listing agent who had seen the same things, but now we've heard it from several buyers coming through. It convinced the seller to take care of those things. And then all of a sudden, boom, the house was under contract. You know, so you're a really valuable partner in selling a house by the feedback that you can collect and give back to a listing agent. And then when it comes to all those buyers who are coming through who are already represented, and that's why I like that little piece of paper, because it gives people an opportunity to tell me who their listing agent is, you know, or who their buyer's representative is, who their agent is. I collect that stuff and I want to give to the listing agent that I'm working with and for, because the listing agent can reach back out to all those buyers agents and say, look, you know, stop by my open house. Do you have any interest in it? You know, what can I tell you? How can I help? You know, so it's a great way for listing agents to reach back out to the people who come to their house. Right. So, and, you know, if people have agents, they'll tell you what they know. Some people might not remember who, you know, what company they work for, but, you know, we can find that out. We can go and look up buyers, agents' names. And then, of course, you're you know, learning the industry too. And so you have impressions and observations of the home and share those with the listing agent. Certainly you come in and, you know, they might not have been in the house in a couple of weeks and you see something that's out of place or anything like that, you know, let the listing agent know and they can have the seller take care of it or they can take care of it themselves. So all of that is important to kind of take care of. So definitely do everything that listing agent ask you to do and go above and beyond. That's how you can get house requests. Any questions on that piece of it?
I have a question. So
Anything else
say,
that you like to get, Patty, from? Okay, go ahead with the question. Sorry.
let's say you got lucky and you got a solid lead, like a neighbor who wants to sell.
Mhm.
Is it okay to keep the lead or are you supposed to give it to a listing agent?
Okay, so well, this is what you work out with the listing agent beforehand.
Okay.
So generally speaking, most listing agents are happy to, they want to know all the people who came through the house who are represented. And so they will follow up with those people. The people who are unrepresented, they will give the listing agents will give those to you because those are now your leads, but you have to work those leads, as Patty mentioned earlier, or you're missing an opportunity to potentially sell that house, and you're certainly missing an opportunity to build your business.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I would also
All right.
say that
Pat-
I'm sorry.
no,
I would
was just
also
gonna
say,
ask, you know, what else do you want to know?
well, one thing I was going to say, especially with a new agent that really hasn't worked with any potential, you know, any clients yet, or maybe has only worked with one or two and maybe not had a sale yet. Whoever the listing agent is, they are usually willing to also kind of coach you on how to convert that lead. Which you have the training on that, but if you're like brand new and you've only been there for 3 weeks, you might not have gotten enough training to really know the scripts and the, you know, you can only learn so much every week as a new agent, right? So I would say, you know, if an agent's willing to kind of coach you on how, you know, because obviously they want the person to hopefully buy that house, but they also want you to have success and purchase another home if that one's not the right one for them. And you know, just say, you know, do you have some ideas on, you know, here's the situation with this particular buyer. Do you have some suggestions on, you know, what to say when I call them? And, you know, and it's a lot of it's based on who that particular lead is. Do they have children? Are they downsizing? Are they upsizing? Are they moving from, maybe they're visiting family from out of state and have decided to maybe move to Atlanta. So, you know, your scripts are going to be, you know, there's a lot of them that, you know, you're going to use over and over again. And then you also have to kind of customize them to that person's needs. So I would say, you know, get some help from that agent. And, you know, I'm happy to coach people and, you know, coach them, you know, through trying to convert that lead and everything. And, you know, like I said, we've done a lot of business for open houses. In fact, we have a closing tomorrow, 2 closings back to back. And it is from a neighborhood where we had a client that I met the family of that person through an open house, did 2 sales for that family. They ended up calling me like 6 months later, sold their house. From that house, we did the first weekend open house. And even, you know, within the last couple of years, the market's been very hot. So we still always do our open house. And then, so we did the open house, met another person from the neighborhood that wanted to sell in the future, sold their house last year. And then from that sale, we did the open house and we met actually a door knocked and met another person just down the road. And she's the one that we're doing back to back tomorrow. So over 800,000 worth of sales from just this one right now. So that neighborhood right there from open houses is way over $1 million. I mean, it's like, you know, close to 2 million in a $400,000 or $300,000 to $400,000 neighborhood. So, you know, if you really work it, do the door knocking, you know, stand back with your mask, you know, take a few steps back after you ring the doorbell, bring them a flyer and just say, hey, just want to invite you. I know you don't want to buy another home in your neighborhood, most likely, but I'm having this open house and they've done some really great updates. And so, you know, it might be just fun for you to come through and take a look at what they've done. And also you might have a friend or a family member or coworker that would love to live in your beautiful neighborhood. So, you know, it's just really easy. You're inviting them to something. So the door knocking around is really a great tool. So
Yeah,
sorry, I went on so long.
No, that's great. And then with the leads that you do have, the unrepresented buyers, it's in the follow-up. And so Commands has a smart plan that is built in over 3 weeks. It's got 7 touches built into it. You can design your own plan. You can put them on an 8x8 plan, a 33 touch. I mean, it just kind of depends. But have a system, have a plan about how you're going to follow up with people. And it's important to take the notes on the conversations right after they happen, if you have a chance. So, you know, some open houses are crazy, you know, one person after another, it's hard to remember. But if there's ever a dull moment in an open house, you know, write down the notes, everything you can remember about the conversations you had, because that will help you tailor the value add in your follow-up conversations. And to Patty's point, it'll help you figure out which scripts, how you reach out, how you add value. And those are the list, you know, just a few things that you can potentially, you know, provide for people that they might find useful. And if you can continue to add value, if you continue to stay in touch, you know, as I mentioned at the beginning, you know, I've got a listing appointment tomorrow with somebody I met a year ago. And, you know, initially it was, you know, this really, you know, pretty intense for a few weeks, staying in touch. And then it has been, you know, once every month, once every couple of months. And now, you know, year and a half later, you know, he's ready to sell a house. So I'm happy to help him sell it, right? Here's a link to a much longer open house tutorial from somebody who's way better than I am at it. Ton of great ideas in this YouTube video. It's about an hour, but well worth a watch.
If
And
you
then there's my
only,
contact info. So if you got any questions or anything, feel free to reach out. Go ahead, Janice.
I'm sorry, I'm taking pictures of all these. If you only have
Well-
their phone number, I mean, it's a lot easier to send an email several times, but to continue to text somebody, you don't want to be a pest. If you only have their phone number, how often do you call or text?
Well, so this open house, follow-up thing, from in command has 7 touches. So, I'll call, text, email, anywhere from 6, 7, 8, 10 times. Maybe not every day, but certainly I aim for 3, 4 touches that first week. And then periodically the next few weeks. And then if I get nothing from them, they're not going to respond. But often it takes people, 7, 10 times before they will respond. And any response means they're paying attention. And even if, you get one response, thanks, great, then they're paying attention, and I'll figure out a way to stay in touch regularly, once a month or whatever it is. And those turn into things. And if you've got systems set up, especially in command, where it can be automated to some extent and you don't have to spend tons of time doing it, then, why not, right?
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? I know we kind of reached the end of our hour, and I know I've talked a lot, and I really appreciate Patty's help in this. Thanks for showing up, Patty, and thanks for your help.
Thanks, Gareth. That was great.
Right. Well, if y'all don't have any other questions, I really appreciate you showing up, and good luck with your next open house. I hope you get a lead and a sale.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so
All right.
much.
So y'all have all right. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you. You too.